The psychologist Daniel Kahneman distinguishes two types of thinking, System 1 and System 2. System 1 is fast and automatic. It appeals to the limbic part of our brain, the animal part, so to speak. System 1 drives us to negotiate following our instincts. System 2 is slower and analytical. It requires stepping back and relies on the neocortical part of our brain, the reflective part that human beings have highly developed. System 2 drives us to broaden our repertoire, to unfreeze new ways of negotiating.
In some ways, System 1 is raw problem solving. Confronted with a problem to negotiate, each of us might exhibit different instinctive tendencies. Some of us will avoid the problem, won't return emails or phone calls, will not seek a solution. Some of us assert their solution, even if it may not fit the other side's interest. Some, on the contrary, to preserve the relationship, will adopt the solution of the other side, accommodating the other, but without serving their interest. Some adapt part of both sides' solutions and meet in the middle. Compromise, which is often defined as a good outcome, but that looks like half good for each. A negotiation approach based on System 2 thinking adventures beyond these four early positions. Here we look for a responsible approach based on joint problem solving, where we will both create value and allocate it fairly.
First, it works towards value creation as a first move in problem solving. System 1 tends to block parties in an exclusive logic, an either-or logic. I win, you lose, or you win and I lose. This is a zero-sum game where there is little or no value creation. Parties have a tendency to be positional, to bring down the other side to their views, which looks like a power struggle, frustrates the parties, and slows down, if not blocks, the process. System 2, on the other hand, invites us to favor an inclusive logic, to seek common ground, a positive-sum game to find integrative solutions, the win-win solutions that are developed by and work for both sides. So System 2 pushes us to not simply get the biggest slice of the pie, but to first make the pie bigger for both. Of course, System 2 takes time. In the preparation phase, you try to identify opportunities for value creation. A responsible negotiator seeks not only their own success, but also the other side's success. So there it is, that inclusive logic. System 2 also levers the meetings to pursue such options for mutual gains, pushing for a shared responsibility. The goal of a System 2 approach is to maximize value for both. We do not simply refer to economic value each side gets, but also other, less tangible aspects where the parties feel respected, engaged in a trustworthy relationship, and in a fair process for the best possible solutions.
Second, responsible problem solving seeks a fair allocation of the created value. In System 1, parties who have hardly created any value tend to haggle, one party anchoring high and the other low. In the best-case scenario, parties meet in the middle, the famous 50% solution, where each side won something and lost something. As there was very little prior value creation, parties fight for its allocation and a bad compromise. Needless to say that the whole process is frustrating for both sides. System 2 levers the value creation stage. If a lot of value has already been created, it is easier, though still not easy, to allocate it. The cooperation in the first stage mitigates the competition in pricing of a second stage, for example. Here, the logic of joint problem solving continues to prevail. System 2 invites a party to prepare at least 3 numbers with ad hoc justifications and calculations. First, their red line or reservation value that possibly stems from a strong solution away from the negotiation table, which we call the BATNA, the best alternative to a negotiated agreement, basically your best plan B. Second, the best case scenario of allocation. We call it the aspiration value, and it can serve as a first anchor on allocation if you are asked to make an offer or to propose a counter offer. And third, a possible endpoint, which can be called the target value. System 2 pushes you to stick to your preparation at the negotiation table, and whenever you anchor, as a responsible negotiator, to invoke justifications, norms, precedents, reasons to avoid arbitrariness. To anchor any allocation that looks fair and legitimate to the other side, to seek a deal better than your red line and your BATNA and hopefully close to your target, and to stick to your mandate and help each party relay the deal internally at the respective back tables with principles.
To summarize, a responsible approach relies on 2 sequential steps for joint problem solving. First, create as much value as possible with the other side. Then, claim a fair size of the added value.